When a new drug receives global marketing approval, it doesn't mark the end of regulatory scrutiny. It initiates a continuous influx of post-market data. Historically, companies managed this information through the Periodic Safety Update Report, or PSUR. This document acted as a cumulative catalog of adverse events reported in the clinical environment. The ICH E2C Revision 2 guideline updated this model by introducing the Periodic Benefit Risk Evaluation Report, or PBRER. This shift recognized that evaluating a drug's risks is only clinically meaningful when those risks are weighed against the drug's ongoing therapeutic benefits. Implementing this model requires pharmaceutical companies to coordinate clinical and safety data across multiple, often conflicting global jurisdictions. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration enforces specific compliance timelines and data formatting requirements for drugs marketed in America. Simultaneously, Japan's Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare may require entirely different submission parameters for the same medicinal product. Organizing these fragmented regional demands into a single global strategy is the responsibility of the company core datasheet manager. The CCDS manager synchronizes these diverse workflows, ensuring the PBRER continuously reassesses a product's benefit-risk profile as new data becomes available. Multinational evaluation requires a single source of truth to ensure all global data is measured against the same criteria. This is established through the Company Core Datasheet, or CCDS, which contains a critical subset of safety data called the Company Core Safety Information. The CCDS defines the baseline of known efficacies and risks. It allows the reporting team to distinguish between listed events and unlisted or unexpected safety signals. The CCDS manager maintains this baseline to prevent unjustified variances in how the drug is labeled in different countries. This reference point also determines the parameters for expedited reporting. If an event is not in the CCDS, it requires immediate notification to health authorities. Without the CCDS acting as a stable reference point, global risk evaluation would lack the consistency required for regulatory approval. Global regulatory bodies often mandate different submission frequencies, ranging from 6-month cycles for new products to annual reports for established ones. Companies synchronize these cycles using the International Birth Date, or IBD. This is the date of the first marketing approval granted for the drug anywhere in the world. The IBD determines the universal data lock point, a fixed cutoff date that freezes the data stream across every region simultaneously. This lock ensures that an annual report in Europe and a 6-month report in the US analyze the exact same data interval up to that specific day. Within this locked interval, teams first establish patient exposure metrics, as detailed in Section 5 of the report. This involves measuring cumulative exposure since launch and the specific interval exposure that occurred since the previous report. When exact patient counts are unavailable, companies calculate patient days of exposure by analyzing raw sales tonnage or prescription volumes. Establishing this exposure denominator is mathematically necessary. It allows the company to calculate the actual frequency of any adverse events. Synchronizing the IBD and data lock point provides the unified exposure denominator needed for a consistent global review. Once the exposure context is set, the PBRER begins its core evaluation process for safety signals. These signals are raw observations of potential causal associations, pulled from clinical trials, from published medical literature, and individual case safety reports. Section 15 of the report categorizes these signals based on their status: new, ongoing, or closed. This flowchart tracks the logic of Section 16, where closed signals undergo formal medical and scientific evaluation. The first decision gate determines if a signal is refuted by the evidence, or if the data escalates into a potential or identified risk. Consider this case study for Stevens-Johnson syndrome, or SJS. The signal emerged from spontaneous case reports and was tracked throughout the reporting interval. Medical teams evaluated the SJS reports against the drug's original clinical trial data to confirm the reaction was a new, unexpected finding. Upon confirming the association, the SJS signal was closed and officially classified as an identified risk. This classification triggers mandatory actions, including updating the company core datasheet with new warnings and notifying oncologists of the risk. This pipeline ensures that every observation is methodically filtered before it can alter the drug's legal labeling. Under current guidelines, A drug's identified risks are never evaluated in isolation. Section 17 of the report establishes the drug's therapeutic benefits, documenting both baseline efficacy and any new findings from the reporting interval. This requires evaluating how the drug performs in actual medical practice, which may differ from the results seen in controlled clinical trials. In Section 18, all previous data converges for the integrated benefit-risk analysis. Variables like clinical effect size and statistical rigor are explicitly weighed against the frequency and preventability of the validated risks. This comparison allows the manufacturer to determine if the clinical benefits continue to outweigh the risks for the approved indications. This is a clinical assessment. Economic factors, such as cost-effectiveness or market price, are excluded from this benefit-risk balance. This specific integration provides the objective medical evidence needed to maintain a drug's authorization in light of emerging risks. From a regulatory standpoint, the PBRER is designed as a modular system that shares data with other required documents. Because drugs often undergo further clinical trials after approval, their reporting requirements frequently overlap. The ICH guidelines allow several sections of the PBRER to use identical content as the Development Safety Update Report and the Risk Management Plan. This overlap is particularly useful for clinical trial data, which is reported to different divisions within a single regulatory authority. By aligning the development and international birth dates, a single authored module cascades seamlessly into multiple regulatory submissions. The CCDS manager uses this modularity to maintain global consistency across post-market reports and ongoing clinical trials. This alignment ensures that every regional affiliate is working from the same clinical data and reporting the same safety conclusions. A well-managed CCDS allows the PBERER